I need to tell Secret Eye something.
Sure, bro.
You know what I just realized, Secret Eye?
What?
You peeked that help from Flo, bro. I remember Flo told you to say that shit. Don't think I forgot. The neo-theism thing.
I say non-classical and neoclassical. It doesn't really matter.
I know. I'm just saying. You know you learned that shit from Flo though.
I don't learn anything from Flo. I actually think Flo is a little bit like silly at times.
Not like I didn't mean learn like that.
Okay. Shut up, Dragon. So you're taking the atheist position. Can you just define that real quick?
I mean, dude, it's just going to be like very bland. It's just saying, like I just don't really hold the position or the proposition that God exists to be true.
So is it the suspension of belief, or is it the denial of the possibility, or the denial of the actual?
Like I wouldn't even say I'm a hard atheist. I would just say we're just saying something.
I don't care for atheists, and I'm talking about for this debate, bro. I don't care.
Yeah, no, I'm saying I'm not like a hard atheist, as in that's how I'm taking. I'm just saying where I just don't hold to the proposition that God exists. Now,
okay, so it's possible that God exists.
Depending on what you mean by God. What I mean by God.
We could just say triomnic being.
Oh, sure. You could say it's possible, like metaphysically possible. Sure.
Okay. Well, I don't really think logically is relevant there. I'm concerned with metaphysically possible. Yeah, there's a couple ways I can go about this. So, well, what kind of arguments do you find or do you take to be convincing for these type of discussions or arguments?
I mean,
what would bind God's existence? Like an abductive argument, an inductive argument? Yeah.
I mean, I think deductive arguments, from ones I've heard, I don't think they really follow that well. So I'll say like some type of abductive argument. Probably.
Abductive argument? Okay, so I'll just use the fine-tuning argument. It just goes a little something like this, right? Like, this is, no, I'm not giving you like a syllogism unless you like directly ask for one.
I mean, are you
saying it's just saying that such the conditions for life that they actually preserve, and then also I would say some sort of psychoanalytic version of the fine-tuning argument, such that human beings actually find morals, ethics, rational nature, and animalistic nature, such that they go through trials and tribulations that aligns with what we find a triomni being to at least seek in theism or theistic models, not theistic models. So that's referring to the Abrahamic religions. It's just the best plausible explanation for the state of existence that we find ourselves in. Any contention?
I mean, I could just run like the normative one, or I could just like run the normative contention, and you could just tell me if it follows the argument or given, right? It goes like something like this. We hold the prior probability to be 0.5 on both hypotheses. If you're going to say it's abductive, you're going to say obviously it has a higher probability. You'd have to say there's independent reasons to believe in the theist hypothesis, doing that explaining here, like some naturalism, or just any other counter model, right? I'll just ask what's the independent reason, so boost the probability.
Can naturalism account for the psychoanalytic development of human beings across time?
And all that means is just to say the harmony between your psyche and your physical states.
Psyche, physical states, and like we could just say some, like if we just reduce it to some preservance of pathos, ethos, and logos there, like why along the evolutionary process don't human beings just reduce into some animalistic state, or even some unbalanced state of only evaluating logical thinking, some sort of credibility-based thinking, or then emotional thinking. Why is there harm?
I just need to be clear real quick. Are you asking me, can naturalism account for this, or can naturalism has a higher probability? Well, yeah, if we were saying that, like, I mean, I should say it's biologically possible, right? So, like, under naturalism, I don't even claim necessity here. We could just say it's biologically possible. I mean, and they developed in this set of way. You could take like a physicalism or immaterial.
You think the brain can account for consciousness?
Dude, I don't feel like one of them. Okay, I mean, it depends what you mean by consciousness.
Okay, so we don't equivocate. By conscious, I just mean there's some mind independent of purely physical processes, such that there's real distinction in states when you make a decision, rather than it being forced by some change in electrons firing, simply.
Okay, and is that some type? Are you saying that's synthetic? Like, do you think like minds exist there?
Do I think that minds exist as synthetic or analytic? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, like what
Synthetic
you
and
mean by
analytic typically
mind.
respond to some like observation of definitions there
Well,
rather than like something that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Are you saying,
so I would
are you asking if
say
I think consciousness is analytically like
no,
dualist?
no. Like the way you defined it is, I feel like you assume some type of like immaterialist hypothesis there. So I'm saying, is this some type of synthetic fact or is this just analytic? Because I don't really know how to go like the
Um,
immaterialist because you said independent of these physical things.
yeah. When we say immaterial there, I mean, what are you cashing out there? Because I don't necessarily
I
think it has to be
mean,
immaterial. It
it.
just means that it just means that the decision making there, or that the valuation is not solely based upon the physical. I think that's the whole point of dualism is just there's harmony between
Okay,
the
so
two. It's
yeah,
symmetrical.
the whole point there is like it's just we have like a hidden premise or like a hidden assumption that's invoking
Yeah.
some type of non-physicalist type account of the mind in a sense, and that's all I'm
Cash
saying. It
out.
doesn't have to be
What do you mean by
specific.
non-physical there? Can you cash that out?
Non-physicalist position there is just something that does not rely on the observable or well, the epistemic. Well, yeah, we have an epistemic domain of what's physical. Physical is like tangible things that have matter, energy, these type of things, right?
No, I
And
think
then we
there's
say
energy. I just don't think that there needs to be anything corporeal. Do you find that if something isn't corporeal, it doesn't exist?
and comport. Well, I mean, I'm not even suspending judgment on what like we're not suspending. I'm not giving judgment on what existence means here. All I'm just saying is with the
Okay, so
with
you think
the
it's
description of the
possible that there
mind.
can be things that exist that don't follow the strict definition of physical, of what you mean by physical is corporeal?
Well, I mean, I'm more of a Gnostic. Well, I wouldn't say I'm a Gnostic towards that,
Okay,
but
so if
corporeal. Wait, what
agnostic,
do you
okay,
wait? Wait, hold on.
this
What do you
goes
mean by
back into
corporeal
the
there?
issue then. This goes back
Wait,
into
what do
the
you mean by
issue.
corporeal there?
Huh? What I mean by corporeal?
Yeah.
We could just say being composed of matter. That's fine.
Okay. No, that's kind of irrelevant. We could just talk about energy. Like, you think these things have energy, right?
Yeah, yeah, there can be energy
Um.
without matter. That's fine.
Okay, and we just take energy be the capacity to do work.
Capacity to do work. Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
It depends on what you mean by work there, but yeah, that's fine.
Work. I mean, work simpliciter is like it would literally just
Yeah, I
be
want you to qualify. I'm
doing
saying
things.
I don't want to unqualify. That's all I'm saying. In a sense, I'm granting you in a
Okay.
sense. So that doesn't just give you free range to go like, well, it can be this, and the other. In a
Well, I mean,
sense,
I would
yes,
just
to
say
do
the
work, that's
commitments.
fine. Like
I
I think
just
the
say
soul has. I think the soul, for example, has the work to accumulate sins. Like it can do work there, but do I think that this is through some convention of like my soul grabs a woman and then has sex with her? Although, like if that's the sin in my paradigm, like no, it just accumulates the consequence of the actions that my physical body takes, which is kind of like
I
a
mean,
container.
my whole point there would be like there's some type of entailment when we say work, and that's causal relations. And the causal relations will be
Yeah,
derived
this is
from
causal
the
relation.
physical.
Yep.
Okay, you would say causal relations are a deviation of time or temporal status.
Yeah,
Correct.
it's fine.
Okay, and then I mean, do you think we have temporal status without some type of spatial status there within the scheme?
Yeah, that's my whole point. Like my account of immateriality doesn't have to be something that's outside of like the universe. Like I'm not a Platonist. I don't even
Okay.
subscribe to like Descartes' view on like God and some of these things. I think it's all within the universe. Like I don't think you have your soul. It's like in you, but it's not in you. Like no, it's
I don't
bounded to
know.
you.
I mean,
We're
the problem
composed
with
of
there
its
is like I'm not even trying
mind,
to like
body, soul are
brag.
composed. But like, listen, this seems to kind of just obfuscate of the naturalism issue. Can naturalism account for our consciousness definition? If we're saying consciousness is accounting for some dualist view there, can you account for that?
Well, I don't even like really want to rap, but like I mean, I don't hold a dualism, but like I could say something like this though, in respect to the question. I mean, in a sense, you could say like there's a methodological account for naturalism accounting for consciousness in a dualist way. Sure, I could say
Well,
that.
I think that denies something parasitic to naturalism. So I think you just made a
That
really big
is.
blunder here. Yeah, because naturalism is the assertion, unless you're equivocating on the term, well, typically it's just defined as asserting that reality consists solely of natural physical processes, rejecting all supernatural, divine, paranormal, or dualist values there. So, I mean, if you disagree to that, I mean, all this would do really is just deny the plausibility, probability raiser there for naturalism over my account of God. So I just think that from this discussion, I mean, we just found that God is more plausible than other explanations of the development of human beings. And then also, there's a second problem you didn't really address, which is just the actual first problem is the actual preconditions for life to exist, and then such that life exists, it actually develops in such a way that we find today.
Okay, well, the problem here that you're taking, well, when we say naturalism, one, there's like types of naturalism. You could have like some type of like poetic naturalism, like Sean Carl, right? Or to us take these type of things, and you could say it. I wouldn't even say changes the semantics necessarily, but it just adds nuance to what it means when it says that these things
is it compatible? Wait, is it compatible with my view?
Well, which like just like the mind body dual or not? Yeah, the dualism position.
Sure.
I mean, you could say it in a sense, but my main point here is
not in a sense. I'm just saying the way you're cashing it out here. If you're not taking the normal definition, are you cashing it out in a way that is compatible with what I've posited?
Well, I mean, you could say it's possible, yeah, that we could accept
this. It's possible. I'm just asking. We're not talking about possibility, necessity, or anything like that here. We're just talking about. We're just talking about what's actual. We're just talking about what's actual.
Well, hold on. We are talking about like purely possibility, because I'm just saying I don't even hold to the account in itself. So I don't even we're not even talking about actuality here. We're just talking about could my view here.
Well, what do you think we typically are looking to do whenever we make abductive arguments or claims?
We just explain some relevant X.
Relevant X. Okay. When we say relevant X there, do you think it's relevant possible X or relevant actual X?
It could be arbitrary. It could be arbitrary. Any relevant X.
Any relevant X. Okay. I mean, I'll let you respond, and then we can just conclude because it's like late, and I don't want to spend too much time talking about.
I mean, like the arbitrary point. I don't really. I mean, like I didn't hear any like type of problematic entailments or something being problematic invoked for something being arbitrary or non-normal. Like it doesn't even have to. Like I don't really care about that talk, right? My whole point here, I could just take this view, Sean Carl's type view of naturalism that could accept this dualist type position, and then we could say and tell from that well, yeah, we can't account for this relevant X, which still does keep the prior probability distribution at 0.5 for both hypotheses. And then when we're just saying that it's 0.5 for both, we don't say that yours is better because the probability distribution is equal in a sense, which just collapses these I forgot like what exact term, but the fine tuning argument and the specification you gave after, which was saying like a psychophysical account.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll make my conclusion pretty short. I was looking up a couple of different things there because I don't typically make these type of arguments, but I just want to say as well, it seems that you didn't really cash out what this form of naturalism was, and like the commitments there is pretty ambiguous. All you really the only part that was relevant to me is that it's compatible with my view. Well, if it's compatible with my view, then it's just encompassed by my view. And if it's encompassed by my view, then just like going to the stratifying it out towards the larger domain, because that was a subdomain. Well, that would just be encompassed by my account of God and the fine tuning argument, which allows for natural explanations of things. I explained that to you extensively. So the physical has causal relation to the non-physical, to like the immaterial. But it just seemed like you were confused in a couple of things. And after giving clarity, it actually seems that, this Sean's view of naturalism doesn't give a other explanation, which is 0.5 towards my account of existence, right? All it does is kind of just make it a full account of existence that's encompassed by my view. But that was an interesting debate. I had fun.
Okay, I'll just give a simple conclusion real quick then. I got you. I mean, I don't even think that there was any obfuscating or equivocation here. I just think they really properly responded. When we talk about the fine-tuning argument and we talk about abduction, we're obviously saying you have a probability distribution on both hypotheses. And when you want to argue fine-tuning, you're going to say the probability distribution is higher here and maybe 0.6. It doesn't even matter about, the probability, right? or the specific numerical value. It's just above the the atheist hypothesis or natural hypothesis or whatever counter hypothesis, right? And here we're just saying, okay, well, you asked me the question, can naturalism, right, or this counter hypothesis in question account for this, right? And I said yes. Then we investigated, can naturalism account for this? Kind of irrelevant to the totality claim there. But, then we just investigated it, and it does seem that it does account for, it can account for this, because we're purely speaking about possibility. I'll give you the rec after this, I got you. And then we're just going to say something like, if it can't account for this, then like the whole causal talk and et cetera, it's kind of irrelevant. And especially when you didn't really give an argument there for your view of the mind. I asked you if it was a synthetic fact. You kind of said yes, you kind of stumbled around it. Then I was just asking for the reasons there to accept this, because I don't really take it to be the case, or, take this mind-body dualism type position that you hold to. But even then, we were just saying the probability distribution, even if I was to accept it, it still is lower. That's like a brief explanation of it, but yeah, I could give you the rec. Hold on. Wait, how do you do that shit again?